ಎಲ್ರಿಗೂ ನಮಸ್ಕಾರ. ಈಗ ನಾವು ಹೋದ ಸೆಷನ್ಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ಟೋಟಲ್ ಆಗಿ ರೇಷೋ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಸ್ಟಡಿ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದೀವಿ, ಹಾಗೆ ರೇಷೋ ಟೈಪ್ಸನ್ನು ಕೂಡ ಸ್ಟಡಿ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದೀವಿ. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ರೇಷೋ ಟೈಪ್ಸ್ನಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದು ಮೇನ್ ಅಂತಂದರೆ ರೇಷೋನ 4 ಭಾಗಕ್ಕೆ ಕ್ಲಾಸಿಫೈ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ. ಆ 4 ಭಾಗಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ಈಗ ನಾವು ಆಲ್ರೆಡಿ 2 ಭಾಗಗಳನ್ನ ಪೂರ್ಣ ಅಂದರೆ ವಿ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಕಂಪ್ಲೀಟೆಡ್ 2 ಟೈಪ್ಸ್ ಆಫ್ ಕ್ಲಾಸಿಫಿಕೇಷನ್ಸ್ ಆಫ್ ರೇಷೋಸ್ and we are studying third, that is profitability ratios. In that profitability ratio already we have seen some of the important ratios like gross profit ratio, net operating profit ratio, net profit ratio and other things. Here after studying the profitability ratios, now we will study some of the ratios like return on total resources. Here, what do I mean by return on total resources? It is also called as return on total asset ratio. Return, means this ratio is relating to or relates with investment. Here, under these ratios are studied under the head the profitability ratios relating to investment. Here these ratios are used for measuring the rate of return, that is earnings on the investments, that is return on the investment, what the firm will get from the investments. Here it is also called as return on total asset ratio. It is calculated by dividing the net profit by total assets. Here the net profit is divided by total assets. Already in last sessions we have seen what do mean by total assets and how to calculate net profit. Here the return on total resource ratio equals to net profit divided by total assets and multiplied with the 100. Here again it is multiplied with the 100 means this ratio is expressed in terms of percentage. Here the firm has to maintain 10% as standard rate. If he maintain less than 10% means it shows the inefficiency. If his earning is more than 10%, automatically it indicates that the high efficiency of the firm. Therefore the firm has to maintain more than 10%. The standard rate is, or the minimum rate is 10%. Here in this ratio we are studying the relationship between the net profit and the total assets. Here next one, return on equity capital ratio. Here return on equity capital ratio, we know what do you mean by equity capital ratio. Equity capital ratio is nothing but net profit available to equity shareholders. Here the new concept comes, the net profit available for equity shareholders. This is calculated by, first we have to take EBIT, that is operating profit. From that we have to pay interest and tax. After paying interest and tax, next we have to pay dividend. After paying dividend, what will remain, that amount is called as equity available to or profit available for equity shareholders, and that profit is divided by equity capital and multiplied with 100, and it is expressed in terms of percentage. Here return on equity capital ratio is also called as net profit to equity capital ratio. It is calculated by dividing profit by equity capital. Here net profit to equity capital ratio equals to net profit available for equity shareholders divided by equity capital into 100, or net profit to equity capital ratio equals to net profit available for equity shareholders divided by shareholders fund. Again the word shareholders fund comes here. We know very well what is shareholders fund. So here I will once again I will repeat you, shareholders fund is nothing but it is a sum total of equity capital, preference capital, reserves and surplus, that is the debit balance of P and L account. So these three items are added. By adding these three items we are getting the shareholders fund, and here there is no any standard ratio will be maintained. So here the firm can maintain a high ratio. If it is high ratio, it is well and good. So here there is no standard ratio for the firm. So next, return on net worth or shareholders fund. Here return on net worth means it is nothing but shareholders fund. So here return on net worth ratio equals to net profit divided by fixed assets. So here we have already seen what do you mean by fixed assets in the last sessions. So first of all we will see what do you mean by return on investment ratio. So here return on net worth ratio is calculated by net profit divided by fixed assets. So first we have to find out net profit, then it is divided by fixed assets. So here next is return on investment ratio. This is very important ratio. So here ROI, it is also called as ROI ratio. It is calculated by dividing net profit by capital employed. Here again a word capital employed is taken here. So here what do you mean by capital employed we will see. So it is also called net profit to capital employed ratio or rate of return. So rate of return means what is the rate of return on the invested amount or the investment. So here return on investment ratio can be calculated by net profit before tax and dividend divided by capital employed into 100. So here we will know first of all what do you mean by capital employed. So capital employed is nothing but net fixed assets plus working capital. We already know net fixed assets. What do you mean by net fixed assets? Fixed asset minus depreciation. So here after payment of depreciation, the total of fixed asset is called as net fixed assets plus working capital. We already know working capital is nothing but it is a difference between current assets minus current liabilities. So capital employed is also calculated by using another formula, shareholders fund plus long-term loans minus non-operating assets. Shareholders fund plus long-term loans. Long-term loans means which are long-term loans means debentures and loans, long-term loans, etc. And non-operating assets, those assets which are called as non-operating assets are deducted from the shareholders fund and long-term loans. So here if you take one simple problem and we will study the ROI ratio, here first of all we will see what are the informations given in the problem. So here net fixed asset is 2 lakh. Here the total net fixed asset is given as 2 lakh and current assets are 1 lakh. Current liabilities are 50,000. Gross profit 65,000, interest on long-term debts is 15,000, and income tax is 17,500. Office and administrative expenses, so which are called as operating expenses, is 5,000, and selling and distribution expenses rupees 10,000. So this is the given information. From this information, we have to calculate the return ratio ROI, that is return on investment ratio. So here. So calculation of net profit before tax and interest. Here gross profit is given as 65,000. So from this 65,000, here we have to deduct office and administrative expenses rupees 5,000, selling and distribution expenses 10,000. So total there are operating expenses of rupees 15,000 which are to be deducted from gross profit. So after deducting operating expenses from gross profit, we will get the total net profit before tax and interest is 50,000. So that after getting profit before tax and interest, here now we have to calculate working capital. So we know already how the working capital is calculated. working capital is calculated by using formula, that is deducting current liabilities from current assets. So current assets minus current liabilities, which is equals to 1 lakh minus 50,000, and here we are getting 50,000 as working capital. So after getting working capital, now it is turn to calculate capital employed. So here we know the formula to calculate capital employed, that is net fixed assets plus working capital. So here net fixed asset is 2 lakh and the working capital is 50,000 as we calculated above. So total is 2 lakh 50,000. Now we have to calculate ROI, that is return on investment. So return on investment is calculated by using formula net profit before tax and interest divided by capital employed. So here return on investment indicates or expresses the relationship between the net profit before tax and interest and capital employed. So here by dividing 50,000 by 2 lakh 50,000 and multiplied with 100, so we are getting here 20% as return on investment ratio. So next one is return on equity or return on shareholders investment. So next ratio is return on equity or return on shareholders investment. So here it is calculated, this ratio is calculated by dividing net profit by the equity shareholders fund. So here net profit, we already know what do you mean by net profit. Net profit is nothing but here gross profit plus operating expenses minus non-operating incomes. So here after getting net profit after tax and interest, so return on equity equals to net profit after interest and tax, and we have known equity shareholder fund is nothing but it is a sum total of equity capital and reserve and profit. So now right here there is an important note that while calculating equity shareholders fund, preference share capital is not considered. So here while calculating equity shareholders fund, the preference share capital is not included. So means here preference share capital are not considered for calculating the shareholders fund. So equity share, purely it is equity shareholders fund, means we have to consider only the equity shares and reserve and credit balance of P and L account. So here last very important topic is earning per share ratio, EPS. So this EPS is very important, that is earning per share. So it is calculating dividing profit by number of equity shares. So here profit by number of equity shares in the firm, only the number of equity shares in the firm. So it is here the profit means net profit available to equity shareholders divided by number of equity shares. So here we have to find out net profit available for equity shareholders, then we have to find out how much equity shares are there in the firm. Then by dividing the net profit available for equity shareholders by number of equity shares, we will get earning per share or EPS. So here with the help of simple problem, we will calculate the EPS. So here equity share capital is given that 20,000 shares at rupees 100 each, means 20 lakh. General reserve 4 lakh. 20% debentures 14 lakh. Current liabilities it is 2 lakh. Preliminary expenses rupees 20,000. So here the preliminary expenses are rupees 20,000 is given in this problem. Now we will calculate the shareholders fund. First we will calculate equity shareholders fund. So here equity shareholders fund can be calculated by adding equity share capital with general reserve, and from this we have to deduct preliminary expenses. So here equity share capital is 20 lakh and the general reserve is 4 lakh. But from 24 lakh, if you deduct 20,000 preliminary expenses, we will get 23 lakh 80,000 as shareholders fund. So now return on investment equals to net profit after tax and interest divided by shareholder fund into 100. 2 lakh 40,000 divided by 23 lakh 80,000 into 100 means the rate of return on investment is 10.8%, and in this problem, the earning per share is calculated by using the two important terms, that is net profit after tax divided by number of equity shares. Here net profit after tax is 2,40,000 and the total number of equity shares in the firm is 20,000. So here earning per share, so the return on investment, that is the earning per share means return on the each equity share is rupees 12. So here like this the return on investment is calculated and EPS is also calculated. So next one is turnover ratio, that is last type of ratios are turnover ratio. So here in turnover ratio, so first one is stock turnover ratio. So this ratio is ascertained by dividing the cost of goods sold by average inventory. So here this ratio, stock turnover ratio, is calculated by dividing cost of goods sold. Here we already know how to calculate cost of goods sold. So cost of goods sold can be calculated by gross profit minus cost of goods sold. So here the cost of goods sold by the average inventory. So here this ratio establishes the relationship between cost of goods sold during the given period and the average amount of inventory held during that period. So here the ratio reveals the number of times stock is replaced during the given accounting period. Here this ratio expresses the number of times. So here this ratio is expressed in terms of time. So here, so it indicates the how many times the stock is replaced during the given accounting period. So stock turnover ratio equals to cost of goods sold divided by average stock. So here cost of goods sold is calculated by opening stock plus purchases plus direct expenses minus closing stock. So here opening stock of raw material, purchase of raw material plus direct expenses, from the sum total of these three the closing stock is deducted. After deducting closing stock we will get cost of goods sold. So cost of goods sold is calculated by another formula, that is sales minus gross profit. So total sales minus gross profit, we get cost of goods sold. Next, average stock. Average stock can get calculated by taking into consideration opening stock plus closing stock divided by 2. So here opening and closing stocks are added to one each other and the total amount is divided by 2. After dividing 2 divided by 2, the average stock will get. So here note is important, that is if opening stock is not given in such cases. So here opening stock is not given, so don't calculate or don't try to calculate opening stock and don't waste of your time. If the closing stock is given, the closing stock itself is considered as an average stock and you have to calculate the stock turnover ratio. Here the standard ratio is 8 times in a year. So here the firm has to maintain the ratio is 8 times in a year. If the actual ratio is more than 8 times, it indicates that more sales are affected and effective inventory management and goods sold many times in a year. So here if the firm's ratio is more than 8 times, it is very good and it shows that the more times of sales during a particular period of time. If actual ratio is less than 8 times, it indicates that the concern has unsellable goods, indicates carrying excess of stock. Means here if the ratio is less than 8, automatically it indicates that the company is having more stock, that is unsellable goods are more in go down. So here if the company is having more unsellable goods, then the turnover ratio is very less and automatically the efficiency of the company will be very less. Thank you one and all.